Welcome to the Old Lumens channel again. I have a couple lights that I'm going to review. These are Thorfire lights. One is the PF04 pen flashlight. The other is a Thorfire C8. They were sent to me for basically free of charge because I'm going to be looking at them and seeing if I can see anything that might improve them, at least from my point of view. Doesn't mean it's anybody else's point of view, but it means it's from my point of view. But I thought I'd go ahead and review them as I do that and let you take a look at them. Okay, I'm looking at this Thorfire C8 first. It comes in a little cardboard box with some foam padding in the bottom and some foam padding on top. The light itself came in a plastic sleeve. It has a little card in it for to let you know that if you need anything, who to contact, and if you'd submit a review, they would appreciate it. Now this is Thorfire, but it's also eChine, E-A-C-H-I-N-E, eChine.com. So I don't know how they are related to each other, and I really don't care. It comes with a fairly decent lanyard as well, okay, and a little manual that gives you, the basics on tech specs and operation, battery usage and replacement, and that kind of thing. So, product warranty and all that kind of thing. A nice little fold out for you. These came from Amazon, just so you know. They came directly from Amazon, and Thorfire sent them to me via Amazon. Now, C8, for anybody that doesn't know, that's basically a certain design flashlight. It utilizes a deep, smooth reflector, and usually something like an XML2 or maybe even possibly an XPG2 for LED. It's a single 18650 light, and it has a tail switch. Okay. This light, this finish that's on here is this anodized finishes is just flat. It's flat black, and I mean you can feel that it's just like flat black paint. That's how it feels, just like flat black paint. I would think most likely it's going to show some fingerprints and that kind of thing. But again, with it being anodizing, you should be able to wipe it off okay. It pretty much looks like a stock C8 as far as the design of the light. Has a few ribs in the pill area. Has Thorfire printed on the side logo here. Thorfire C8S. Basic light. So I'll do a little bit of spec on it as far as overall length. The overall length of the light is approximately 145 millimeters. The diameter, overall diameter of the head is approximately 45 millimeter. I would think, if I remember correctly, it's something like a 42 millimeter lens, but reflector diameter. We'll measure that. It looks to be a plain glass reflector. I'm not even sure if it's got a coating. If it does, it's a very, very light coating. When I move it back and forth in my lights, I can't see any hint of any coating on there, but we'll take a look at that. And I'm gonna go ahead and put a battery in it and show you that it works, and then from there I'll tear it down. Okay, I've removed the tail cap. The tail cap has two slots in it, and that's so you can put your lanyard in through there and tie it down. Of course, the rubber stock, standard rubber end cap for your clicky switch. It has about the standard brass spring in the back, and a brass coated spring in the back, and a little insert in there that tightens down the whole clicky switch assembly in the tail cap. Square threads on the tail cap or on the body. Okay, and they look like they're done real well. It's pretty quiet, and they've been lubricated a little bit, and it was pretty quiet when I took it apart. There's your surface for making contact, and the battery I have is an eFest, unprotected eFest 18650. I'm going to see what I get for amp draws on this thing. So hang on just a second while I get my meter set up. Alright, I'm going to try to get it to where you can see the meter readings. My meter is a Mastech MAS380L, and it has 12 gauge wires that are soldered into the contacts for the that would normally be just, you know, push-in contacts, but they're soldered directly into the meter. So I'll put negative on the end of the battery and then positive on the outside of the case. I'm getting 2.62 amps on high. Looks pretty steady, starting to drop just a little bit, 2.60, 2.598. So it's dropping off a little. So we're getting about the 30-second mark, or maybe a little less than that. Okay, then I get, let's see what we get for the next mode. I get 0.84 on the next mode, and I get 0.0304. So I guess this is 3 modes. I'm gonna double check again here and see what I get for. Well, I don't get anything. What are we doing here? Let's see. Yeah, 256, 257, 84, 0.84, 0.85, 0.03, 0.04. So 3 modes. High, medium, low looks to be, and let's see if it's got mode memory. Yeah, so it's got mode memory because it came back to 0.3. So you know, high, medium, low, mode memory, and 2.6 amps doing for high. So it's not pushing an awful lot. Okay. I'm going to put the tail cap back on and see if I can do a little shot of the beam itself. Okay, 4 modes. The 4th mode is so low that it doesn't read on my meter. So I got, and you can see the 4th mode there. That's the one I wasn't seeing with a meter. That's high, medium, and it's whining on medium, low, and like a moonlight, probably 1 or 2 lumens. Okay, so 4 modes, and the driver is whining on the medium mode, but not on the high. I don't see any PWM. I don't notice any. So maybe it's direct drive, huh? Could be. Anyways, like I say, that's it as far as modes, and it is whining on the medium mode. Now I'm going to go ahead and tear it down. And one thing I can tell you is, though, this is an unprotected cell, and it's a button top. Maybe with a protected cell, it might be a little tight in there with a protected cell, but you'd have to try it yourself to find out. All right, I'm going to tear it the rest of the way down and take a look at it here. Okay, I've got it torn down. The threads on the front of the body are also square threads. They were not lubricated, and that's not a big deal because it's supposed to make contact with the head. So that's why there's no anodizing on the threads on the front of the body or the back of the head. The threads for the bezel doesn't look like they're, well, I don't think they're square thread. They're just regular thread. Okay. O-rings everywhere as an O-ring should be, and they're all intact. None of them are torn apart. There is a threaded insert. The pill is a threaded insert because it comes in. It's not a solid shelf in there. So you remove the pill. Quite a little bit of meat right in that area. The reflector is an aluminum smooth reflector. It measures about 42 millimeter. Yep, as far as overall diameter. Overall height, we're going to guess at about 35 or 34, maybe 34 millimeter. Got the centering ring stuck on here, so I don't want to really push that out, but I would say right about maybe 8 mm for a diameter for the hole for the LED, with a plastic centering ring. The lens, of course, again, is probably 42, yeah. And it does look like it's got a coating on it. Not very much of a coating, but it appears like there is some type of coating on it. Could just be a single coating. The pill is very lightweight, so it's probably hollowed out extremely inside. The driver is held in again by little rings, the locking ring that you can take out and remove the driver. The LED is on a aluminum star. It is screwed down with 2 screws, and it appears to be an XML2. Of course, we don't know if it, I don't know. I haven't looked at enough of the fakes yet to know whether it's a fake one or not, but it looks like an XML2. And wires probably about 26 gauge or right around there, real fine wires. I'll go ahead and, of course, take the driver off and all that kind of thing, take a look at it to make sure there is a solid shelf in there. I'll do that next. Okay, so I've gotten taken the driver out. I haven't unhooked it from the LED yet. I'm going to give you an idea of what the driver is in there. All right. As far as the shelf for the LED, I'm going to have to say it's a fail. I don't know if you can see it, but in the very center, you can see the thermal grease right in the center right there, and you see down in here there's it's actually like a hole, like they've tapered it right there. So in the very center, underneath that star, there's a hole in it. All right. I'm sorry, but that's not right. It's not the way it should be. And so I'd have to say that as far as using this pill for anything, it's a fail. I can see why they don't even put 2.6 amps in it. I probably wouldn't even put that much into it. And it's super light, you know. So as far as the pill design, like I say, it's just no go for me. I really wouldn't do anything for it. They're going to have to redesign that pill for it to amount to anything. But that's about all I got to say with this thing. Overall, you know, a nice looking little light, but with what's going on with the pill right there, and the LED shelf having a hole right dead center, and less meat in there because they've counterboard that. I really can't say a heck of a lot as far as wanting to do any modifications with the light as it is. So, of course I'm going to, speak to them about how they can modify that pill. Other than that, that's about all I know for the C8, and I will take a look at the PF04 here in just a few minutes. Okay, well, we're back to review here, and I have the other light that came from Thorfire. This is the PF04 pen flashlight. Okay, again, it comes in a little cardboard box with foam padding top and bottom. Comes in a little plastic sleeve, and this comes with a spare O-ring. This light is just super light. I mean, super light. There's nothing to it, which is great for something for your pocket. Thorfire PF04 on the side, nice little pocket clip here. I prefer pocket clips that go all the way around and they don't pull off easy. I prefer that style. But this one's on pretty tight. Not too bad. I just don't like clips like that because they come off so easily. There's a little bit of design cut here, no knurling or anything like that. I would prefer if there was at least a little bit of knurling somewhere on it, but there isn't. I haven't tried this out yet, but I'm assuming that it is a twisty, to change your modes, and little clicky switch. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it's not a twisty, huh? It's not a twisty, huh? It's just a little clicky switch on the end. I guess it's not a twisty. Well, I sort of wish it was a twisty, and I guess you could do that because it's going to contact there. Anyways, I have a couple envelopes, and I'll throw in there and see what we get for modes. I'm not going to be doing amp draws on this thing, I don't think. At least I don't plan on it right at the moment. So, okay, so I'm going to throw a couple envelopes in here and see what we get. These are, of course, AAA batteries. I'll twist this on. The threads are done well, and they're pretty quiet, but they're not square threads. It has been lubricated. We'll see if I get, okay, looks like low first, then medium, let's see, low. Well, to me that looks more like low, high, medium. Is that what it looks like to you? It's, see, that's low. Looks like low, high, medium to me. I can't understand that, but that's what it looks like. Yeah, that's interesting. All right, so anyways, we have what looks possibly, I didn't look to see what LED is in here, but I'm going to guess possibly an XPG2, maybe, or an XPE. Let's see if it says in the manual. Sorry, I should have probably looked at that. XPG2R5. Okay. And I didn't give you any specs on this thing. The overall length on this is about a 128, 129 millimeter. Diameter is like 13 millimeter in the head. It has a, it does look like it's a glass lens. It looks like it's coated. It's got a smooth reflector. Cannot tell you if it's aluminum plastic or plastic till I tear it apart. A little driver, of course, down in there you can see, and when you tighten down, the body tightens against the negative of the driver. A little clicky switch and spring down inside. I imagine this, well, I would think this comes apart, but I haven't been able to get it apart, so I don't know if it's glued on or not. You load from the front end, and I will, attempt, I'm going to say attempt, because I'll probably mess it up, but I will probably attempt to take the guts out of this thing. You know, these little pen lights like this, there's not going to be anything for heat dissipation. It's just not going to be. It's just the way it is. There's no metal. There's no place for the heat to go. You don't want heat building up in it. It seems to be pretty bright for what it is. I'm really surprised at how bright the light is. Not bad at all. You know, I was really surprised for 2 AAA. You know, that's a pretty bright little light for a AAA pen light. You know, not bad at all. But why they do this ultra low and then straight to high and then medium, I don't get it. I would say you'd want to do, you know, and there's no mode memory from what I can understand, from what I can see. It's always going to start on that ultra low and then goes to high and then medium. So, and maybe it's because the driver is so tiny. I don't know what they're using for a controller for that driver, but maybe they can't add memory. I don't know if they can't. Maybe, you know, I'm not sure. From what I understand from talking to Thorfire, they say something about the manufacturer that they can't add memory to that particular driver, but they could change the modes. And of course, my recommendation was low, medium, high, not low, high, medium. Anyways, I'll try to take this apart and see what happens and sacrifice it if I mess it up. But overall, I mean, it's a nice little flashlight. It's not the flat finish like a C8. I'd rather prefer something a little smoother like this. Good finish, but I would like to have at least like this cut pattern up here in the front where I could grip a little better. It does have the notches in here, but I would prefer to have, if not knurling, at least some type of cut pattern up there. And again, on the head where I wanted to twist it off, just to make it the appearance nicer, and also just to be able to handle it better, you know. Other than that, it's not a bad little light. I'm really, I think they've done good quality here. Now, I just want to take a minute to say that in talking to Thorfire, Of course, they don't make these lights for themselves. I don't want anybody to think that there's like a Thorfire factory. There isn't, okay? They're having their name stamped on lights that are being manufactured by somebody else. Now, from what I understand, the manufacturer, or at least one manufacturer that they have used so far, is the same manufacturer that makes convoy lights, okay? And I'll bet you 10 to 1 that manufacturer also makes lights for a ton of other different people, okay? So Thorfire is going to a manufacturer to have lights produced. So they may design it themselves, but they're not manufacturing. And I'll bet you, again, that because they're going to a manufacturer, that they have limitations on what they can do according to the manufacturer's needs and specifications. All right. So it's just one of those things. It's you never know who's making what. There's a Thorfire name on it, but it's not made by Thorfire. It's made by somebody else. All right. That's about all I got to say about the two lights. I will tear this down and try to show you the guts here pretty quick, and that'll be the end of my running my mouth. Okay, I wanted to see if I could get some amp draw readings out this little thing, so I got it set up where I'm using my other meter and see if I can't, with my regular leads, and see if I can't get some amp draw readings. Okay, it looks like 0, okay, 0.98, 0.99, 0.98, 0.99 amps, that's high. 0.24 amps, that would be medium, okay, and I got 0 for low, which means it's so low that I can't read on my meter, but that's like the 2 lumen setting. So I'm getting, yeah, okay. So at least we got 0.99 for high, and what did I say, 0.2 something for medium. That gives you some idea what the amps are on this thing, all right? And then I'll tear this thing down real quick. Okay, so I've managed to take everything apart, and of course I ruined the driver in the meantime, which I figured I'd do that. The reflector is an aluminum reflector. It's threaded into the head. Got 2 little slots in there to turn it downward tight. It has an O-ring between the reflector and the lens is looks like a coated glass lens, okay? If you're interested in diameters, this reflector is really tiny. It's 12 millimeter by 12 millimeter or 11 millimeter maybe. No, sorry, about 7 millimeter height, 12 millimeter diameter. Lens looks to be probably the same, or 12 or 13. Lens looks to be closer to 13 millimeter, okay? The driver, of course, came apart totally when I tore it apart. I'm not too easy on stuff. I'm pretty rough on stuff sometimes. But anyways, there's 2 driver boards here, and they were soldered by wires together, but I've torn that all apart. Looks to be like the LED is setting on a solid brass shelf. I don't see any hole in the very center. I'm going to go ahead and rip that off. What the heck, I've already ripped everything else off. It's on a aluminum MCPCB. It's probably 10 millimeter, I would think. And the brass pill is solid, doesn't have any hole in the center like the C8 did. So it's got a solid shelf. If they would just maybe make that out of aluminum instead of brass, or make it out of copper instead of brass, probably be pretty good, But again, you can't put a lot of amps into that thing. There's no place for any heat to go to, there really isn't. You're not going to pump the heck out of it with juice. But I can see from how tiny that driver is, and you can see the controller for it too. I bet there's not a lot of room for any memory deals or any special modes. So it is what it is. Okay. Overall, for a little pen light, it's a nice little pen light. It's plenty bright the way it is. The XP G2 LED is great, for it. and I wouldn't push it any more than an amp. I mean, pulling an amp out of that thing, you know, with two AAA batteries. In fact, I probably wouldn't even push an amp into it, because you know, you're not putting an amp into the actual LED, but you're pulling an amp out of those cells, and you know, they're only rated like 0.8 amps, I think. 800 mA? No, I'm not sure. Let's see, 750 mA. So, you know, 3/4 of an amp is what they're rated for. Typically 800, minimum 750. That's a lot. You know, that's pushing quite a bit. And I think I'd probably even lower that high mode down to maybe you know, 3/4 of an amp or less. But I would also make it low, medium, high, you know, or high, medium, low, but not low, high, medium. Just too strange for me. Anyways, that's it for my running my mouth on these reviews. Thanks for watching.